Alright, today we're going to be doing engine mount replacements in a 1990 Nissan 240SX S13. This will work from 89 to 94, any of the S13s. Basically what's been happening with me is my engine shakes a lot when I first take off, and I didn't know it gotten this bad, but after one of the drift events that I did, I noticed a little tiny dent right there on the top of my hood, and the paint chipped, and I'm like, what the hell? So I looked at it, and it was dented from the inside. So then I look up under here, and this is all torn up and stuff, which is very likely from my clutch fan flying around. So these mounts are pretty bad at this point if they've dented my damn hood. Actually, I believe wherever here is where, either way, it is not a good thing. So I'm going to go ahead and change these out. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start here on the passenger side, or on the driver's side, sorry, and loosen up the nuts from up top. I'm not going to take them off all the way, I'm just going to loosen them up at this point. I'll show you why in a little bit, but I'm going to loosen them up, get them all the way basically to the top, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the passenger side and get those all, finger tight to the top, and then I'm going to jack up the vehicle and go from under after that point. And then if your car's fully factory, you're going to have a couple of emissions things over in this area. They're pretty easy to take off, just a couple of 10 millimeters, maybe some clamps. I've got mine out just because I removed all that stuff, because I'm going to be going turbo with this vehicle, so yeah. Alright, not sure how well you can actually see in there, but it is unscrewed to the point where you can just barely see it up at the top there. And then I did the same thing on the passenger side as well, which is a little harder to see because the oil filter is there. But same thing, you can see right there next to the oil filter. I may end up needing to remove the oil filter to pull the mount out. I'm not sure yet. I guess we'll see. But now at this point, I'm done up top. Alright, so now I just unbolted one side of my stroke tower brace so I get it up like that. Because we are going to be jacking up the motor. So then at this point, I'm going to go under the car, jack it up, and I'll show you where we unbolt the mounts from on the bottom, and then see how it goes. I'm pretty much going to do one side at a time. So I'm thinking I'm going to start with the driver's side. But yeah, I'll show you here once we get it jacked up. Alright, so now I've got the vehicle up in the air. The bottom of the mount is right up in there. It's going to be a 14 millimeter, so I'm going to use some long extensions to get to that bolt, and I'm going to loosen those up the same way as the other one, get them all the way to the back, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Alright, so got that side loosened up. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the passenger side. Alright, and this is the passenger side. I'm just going to loosen that up. You may end up needing a breaker bar to do this. I loosened these up previously when I was doing my oil pan, so didn't quite have to myself, but yeah, just cracked it loose. Now I'm going to hand loosen it back off, and then I'm going to go ahead and jack the engine up and start removing them. So I'll show you how we do that here in just a little bit. Alright, so now to jack the vehicle up, the engine up, I'm using a block of wood and a floor jack right on the bell housing of the transmission housing, on the bell housing there. I'll put the block of wood just so it doesn't end up cracking the thing, and then I'm just going to jack it up here. Alright, so I got it jacked up, and now up there, I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's jacked up. The bolt is jacked up to the point where it's right at the end, so ready to take them off. Same thing on the other side. I'm gonna verify the look, but it should be. Alright, so this is the passenger side. It's not so much lifted up there. It might have lifted up on the top, I'm not sure. Or I might have to just give it a little more hell to get that one off, but I'm gonna start with the passenger or the driver's side first anyway, so I'm gonna move over to that one and see how it treats me. Alright, so looking at the driver's side mount, there's still a little bit of a gap right there, which means I should be able to still unbolt it a little bit more, or jack the motor up a little bit more. So I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, there we go. It's flush, so now I should be okay to unbolt it there. So thinking I'm going to start with the top one first, and then take the bottom one off. So let's see how that method treats me. Alright, so I'm going to reach down. Yeah, with that pressure on there, I'm going to need a ratchet. Alright, so it's looking like once I got this top one off, I'm going to need to jack it up a little more to end up getting it out. So I'm going to jack it up right now. And it looks like that will be enough, so I'm going to go ahead and unbolt from the bottom now. And here you can see the mount is all kind of floppy there. So I'm going to unscrew it from the bottom and then see what happens. I have the bottom one off now. Looking like I might need to jack the motor up a little more. It's still kind of almost, but not quite there. Alright, so I'm not sure how well you can see down there, but it's looking like it's actually stuck up in the top and needs to come out a little more on the bottom, so just kind of flopping it around. There we go. That's what we want. Closer. Still not quite wanting to come out. Really hope that jack doesn't fail me. But then I'll need some new fingers. There we go. Knocked down the camera, but here's one of the mounts. I'd flop it right here. That's it. I mean, physically it doesn't look bad, but you see a lot of cracking. These are obviously factory OEM mounts. Or this one at least for sure. So I'm go ahead, put the new one in. Oh, I'm going to compare the new one that I bought first, and then see how it goes. Alright, so here's the new mount. Match it up. Looks the same. This bracket right here, honestly, it's like a heat shield or something. I'm not sure if I'm even going to put that back on. I'm not sure if it matters at this point. But yeah, so looks the same, so I'm going to go ahead and slide this bad boy in. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and try to slide the new one in. Alright, so I got it into the bottom hole. Now I basically got to do a little bit of finagling to get this other one here. Might need to do a little bit of pry barring. Alright, so here's where I am so far. I'm going to go ahead and play with it a bit. Get it to slide up under there, because you can see the bottom is in, but the top is not. Alright, so here's the mount right here. Alright, so you can't quite see right now, but I've got a long pry bar I'm hitting on the threaded part with there, trying to get it up into the mount, or into the bracket. Pretty close. Alright, so I'm in. Yep, I'm in. So now I'm going to go ahead and lower the jack. Alright, so actually what I just did, instead of lowering down the jack, I threaded on the nut on the top and on the bottom. But I'm going to leave the mount loose because I'm still going to need some wiggle room for the passenger side, which I'm thinking is going to be harder since it's a little more cramped. So yeah, this side is on. I mean, it's loose obviously, but it's in. It's not going to come off or anything. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the passenger side. Alright, so I'm not sure how well you can see, but right here, fuel line here, it's kind of blocking a bit. Let's see if maybe I can move it out of the way. Right here's the nut. So it's a little tight still, so I'll have to use my ratchet. Alright, so I got that off. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom one. So I got it in at the top and on the bottom. It's kind of flopping in there. I'll show you what I was using. Using this big pry bar to do a little bit of finagling, you know, moving it around and stuff like that. Finally got it in the hole, so I'm going to thread the nuts back on. I'm going to go ahead and lower it down, tighten them up, and we're good to go. Alright, one thing in case you're wondering which way they go, as far as how you turn them around and everything. If you notice there, that little notch on the mount in the bracket part up there, that lines up with the little nub right there. Pretty easy, but you know, it can be easily messed up if you took them off without really paying attention prior to, so just something I figured I'd mention. Obviously you can see my oil filter got dented there, so I'm going to take it off. It would have been easier to take off the oil filter, so if you're doing this job for the first time, definitely recommend taking that oil filter off. And I'm going to go ahead and lower that engine now. Alright, so the driver's side lined up perfectly fine with that notch. Or the passenger side, sorry. The driver's side, just about there. Actually, just got to tighten them up. So yeah, we're good. I just got to tighten the mounts, tighten those 14 millimeters, the one at the top, one on the bottom, and we're good. We're done here. Alright, and that concludes it. Just pretty simple. Took me about 30 minutes overall to do them both. I was filming, so it took a little longer, but if I wasn't filming, it would have been about 30 minutes. So yeah, these are just OEM style mounts, not solid mounts or anything goofy like that. These are just OEM replacements. So yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. I know getting video shots of this was a little bit difficult, so I apologize. They're not the greatest shots, but hopefully you get an idea and a basic overview on the job.